Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of Baseline Banter with, you like that? He doesn't it? Well, I messed it up already.
Can you rewind or how does it work? What do you do?
It's okay. I'll edit this out. I'll start again. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do the introduction.
Baseline banter.
You like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of Baseline Banter. I am your host, tennis professional Chet Zimmerman, and I'm joined by my esteemed co-host and fellow tennis professional and father and mentor, Michael Zimmerman. How are you, Dad?
I'm good. I'm good.
What do you
Thank you
think of
for
that
having me
name?
on
Is
this
that a good
podcast.
name for a podcast?
Yeah. Yeah, very good. Baseline banter. I like it.
Yeah, first ever episode. We're making history here.
Yeah. Very good.
So I wanted to get your take. Have you been watching the Miami Open at all?
I've seen some of it. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to get your take. I mean, like, we had a great match today, Zverev versus Fils. Um, did you see the result of that at all?
I saw the result. I didn't see the match.
Uh,
Phil's in three, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah. He won. I think he dropped the first set and then he ended up winning two straight, like 6-2, 6-2. I
Here's the
believe.
thing with Zverev. Zverev can be unbelievable. Like when he played that match against Nadal when he hurt his leg, you know,
Yeah.
he was playing great. But Zverev's also can be flaky and he can miss shots he shouldn't miss. He can be
Yeah.
out of it for a while, come back in. He's not a consistent player. Very good though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have high hopes for Phils. He's only 20 years old.
I really haven't seen him play. There's a lot of these players are coming up.
Yeah.
That young girl, Alex, the Filipino girl.
Yeah, who just won today versus Swiatek?
Yeah,
That was unbelievable. How old is she?
straight 19.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
A
two
lot, a
straight.
lot of a lot of young talent.
And then you have the Canadian girl, Vicky Maboko, who used to train with All Canadian.
Yeah.
And Vicky is, I think, 18, but I remember her coming up as a 13-year-old. She had a lot
She's
of
18
potential.
now. Yeah, I
I think
remember
she's
hearing
18
her,
now, if I'm
hearing
not
about her.
mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yep. I can see that. Both of them.
Just want to see these scores.
Yeah. Some interesting
Um,
results. Djokovic is looking great.
yeah, unbelievable,
A lot
huh?
of Musetta.
Turned it around. A lot of
Musetti's
people were counting
better.
him out. It seems like every time a former number one, they get a little bit up in age, everyone just starts counting them out as soon as they start, losing a few matches. And then like, obviously you can't do that when it comes to Djokovic. I mean, how many times have people counted him out and he comes back and surprises everybody, right?
He's 38. I mean, he can't go on forever, but he's in such tremendous shape and he's got such a disciplined lifestyle
Yeah,
that if anybody can last another couple of years, it's him.
exactly. Exactly. We got I mean Monfils is hanging on like, you know,
He lost though.
I know, but it's pretty good, just his play recently.
There's another guy. There's another flaky guy. He's got
Yeah.
probably more talent than anybody on the circuit except for Kyprios. But
Yeah, yeah. Curios.
oh yeah, Kyrgios. Who's Kyprios?
That's his
Some,
brother.
somebody else. But yeah, but Monfils has tremendous talent. I mean,
It's unbelievable how he's still going at it, and he's got to be up there in age too, right?
he's in his
Mid
30s for
30s.
sure. 35 maybe. I'm not sure.
All right, so I want some predictions. Obviously, so there's the Zverev score today. 3-6, 6-3, 6-4. Big win for Phils. I want to hear your predictions, Dad. Who do you got? Phils or Mensick?
I go with Mensick.
Really? I was
Sometimes
laughing
these
because I thought it was a shoe-in for Phils. I mean, I'm down to be proved wrong, but
yeah, but sometimes these guys, when they're off of a big win, there's always a letdown in the next round.
I guess maybe,
Hard to
but
keep it up.
against a guy like Mensick after he defeated Zverev like that, I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
All right, so we'll
yes.
see. We'll see on the next podcast who's been right.
Yeah.
Um, Fritz Berrettini, who do you have in that?
I go with Fritz because Berrettini is more of a clay court player, I think.
Yeah.
Fritz is good on the hard courts. Well, he grew up on the hard
Yeah,
courts.
I'd go with Fritz too. I'll agree with you on there.
I
Korda
remember Fritz's
Djokovic.
father, Guy Fritz, and Fritz's uncle, Harry Fritz, who was up in Toronto for a few years. Very good
Oh,
players
really?
also.
I didn't know. Did you ever come across him?
Yeah, we were friendly. I mean, never played him.
Okay.
We were friendly.
Yeah, yeah. Who do you have, Korda or Djokovic?
I got to go with Djokovic till he loses. I go with him.
I know.
Korda is also a very good player. And you know who Korda's father was, right?
No, who?
Peter Korda. He was one of the best players in the world.
That's embarrassing that I don't know that.
Yeah, but it's before your time.
I know, I know. Well, that's why you're on here, so you can drop those gems of knowledge.
Yes, for sure. That's
And
why I
then
wouldn't miss it for the world.
and then we got Dimitrov. But that's going to be interesting. You see, I think if Djokovic goes against Dimitrov,
I pick Djokovic.
I'd pick Djokovic too,
Probably
but
beaten him a
Dimitrov's
number
been
of
having
times.
a lot of great success recently.
Yeah, he's probably played him and beaten him a number of times, I would guess.
Yeah, yeah. And then we got ooh. So if it's okay, who do you have to win the whole thing? I want to know who do you think's going to win the whole thing?
Oh boy, that's tough because Sinner's not in it.
It is. It is.
Very tough. I don't know. You know what? I gotta until he loses, I gotta go with Djokovic.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. You don't want to count him out. I mean, it's
Well, it is a hard court. He is very good on hard courts, and it's only 2 out of 3. So I don't think age will matter that much.
you know what? I would not be surprised if it's Fils and Djokovic in the finals. I would not be surprised.
Bills hasn't really done anything until this tournament, has he?
He's been coming up. He's 17 in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's uh he's been having some good results. Um, I don't know. I think Fils versus Fritz be a very good semifinals. I think that's a very, very interesting tournament. It'd be very, very interesting to see what happens.
Once you have Sinner out of it, who's such a good player
Yeah.
that
You
it's
wish he was
wide
playing.
open.
You wish he was playing.
He's back for the French Open, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's just too good and
I
too consistent.
now I want to know,
Yeah.
what do you think of the whole Sinner being banned? Because I have my take. I've had a lot of people come up to ask me about it in the club. I've had kids on campus, coming up and asking me about it because it seems like it's the hot topic. It's the topic that's crossed boundaries into the mainstream. A lot of these headlines we
So
only get in the tennis world.
yeah.
This has gone, global in the headlines. What do you think? Sinner, is he a
So
doper?
interesting. So interesting. But I got to go with this. He did take the drugs. If it was his fault, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably he didn't know he was taking the drugs. But couldn't anybody say that? Oh, I don't know. My doctor gave me
True.
this, or my trainer gave me this, or that's the
Yeah.
problem. And yet Sharapova a few years back, she was banned for 2 years. And they all have the same story. Well, I had a cold, or I didn't know what I was
Yeah.
taking. I relied on my coach.
Yeah.
You gotta draw the line.
So
He
you're
did
in
take
the,
it twice.
pardon me?
I think Sinner did take the drugs twice, didn't he?
Was it twice? I thought it was only once.
Or maybe they tested him twice. I don't
Oh,
know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Something to that. But
So you're in the zero tolerance camp.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that rule, but that
Right.
is
But
the
if you're going
rule.
to have the rule, you have to have zero tolerance.
Yeah, I mean, like a policeman stops you for speeding. Well, my speedometer was broken. I thought I went I thought I
You
was
still
okay.
sped. That's
Yeah,
true.
I still did. Or he's heard this excuse a lot. Well, the guy in front of me was going way faster than I was. And the answer to that is, so what? You were speeding.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so I got to go with zero tolerance if it was my call. But I,
Yeah.
I think what was fair is they only banished him for 3 months, just in
Now,
time for him to come back to the French.
yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think if the rule is there, you have to enforce it. Do you think it's time for a rule change?
I don't know. I'd have to give that some thought.
Yeah, because my only thing is he was required, I believe it was within 48 hours to tell them exactly where it came from. Okay, he did that, and that's why they allowed him to play while they reviewed it because he was able to determine exactly where it came from. Past that, there was also not enough in his system to actually have a consequence on the court, right? The amount detected was so little that they say it didn't really have much of an impact on his performance.
But I think what they're saying on these drugs is it helps your recovery. I
A
don't know.
certain amount, yes, but I think it was just very trace amounts, right?
Yeah. Well, then they can go with that. What
Yeah,
amount do you have to show for you to be banished? Or maybe they could do if you show this much drugs in your system, you're banished for 1 month. If you show this, you're banished for 6 months, etc.
yeah. I'll
Interesting.
give an example I heard Andy Roddick talk about. He said that there was a tournament, I forgot when, maybe it was 10 years ago, but I believe it was in South America somewhere. All of the tournament players popped positive for a certain kind of drug. Forgot I don't know what the drug was. They were all positive. It was determined that they were all eating the beef at the player hotel
Yeah.
that had wherever they were in this locality, they used this certain drug as a whatever, an additive to the beef. There was trace amounts in it. They all went positive. They said, okay, well, this is the reason why we'll let it go.
So nobody
Because,
had an advantage.
pardon?
Nobody had an advantage for having
Maybe,
drugs.
but I mean, in those cases, shouldn't there be in a little bit of like an exemption? You ate some beef. He got treated, I believe it was a cut, right? That his massage therapist or trainer or whoever treated him for. Shouldn't there be a little bit of leeway? Like, hey, this could have been anyone. We know you're not a doper. I
That's
mean,
the other side of the coin. You take each individual case and see what you're going to do.
right, right. But anyway, I'm very happy that he hasn't been kicked out of a Grand Slam, and it's just the 3 month period that it is, and hopefully we'll see him back, and I'm sure he'll have a lot of more.
But they have the judges have some leeway in that, don't they? They don't say, well, if you have this trace amount of drugs in your system, you're automatically out for a year. They can do that 3 months or whatever they want.
Right. I saw a quote from Djokovic today. It was something that all of talking about players on the tour, he was talking about everyone has an amazing serve, everyone can return, everyone can hit a forehand, everyone can hit an amazing backhand. Tennis is a mental game. That's where the difference is. I wanted to see what you have to say about that, and I've been thinking more and more about the mental approach to the game recently.
Yeah, I think at that level, I mean, there's different mental approaches according to how well you play, but at that world class level, I mean, everybody can play. I
Yeah,
mean, you think number one in the world has a lot better forehand than number 50 in the world, for example?
no,
Probably not, but they don't miss. That's the thing. They don't miss. Like I remember seeing, and you won't remember this guy, Ivan Lendl.
I don't know. Of course,
He was
absolutely.
practicing at my club because the tournament in those days were near the Mayfair clubs where I used to work.
Yeah,
So I remember him practicing, and he hit the ball with all his might. Of course, all his might then is not like all his might with Sinner.
yeah.
So all his might.
Different equipment too,
He
right?
never made a mistake. The guy never
Yeah,
made a mistake. Um, so that's the difference. And the other difference is that in crucial points, they have that confidence. They know they're going to win that point,
yeah.
where maybe somebody else has a little bit of a doubt.
How do you think a player can develop that kind of mental fortitude in those high pressure situations? Because it goes back to this quote that everyone can hit a forehand, everyone can hit a backhand. You see so many players, you know, at a provincial level, even juniors, you see them in practice, they're hitting unbelievably. but can you perform when the pressure's on? How do you develop that kind of
I think you need a good
mentality?
psychologist
Pardon
to
me?
you need a good psychologist to help you with that. Like you have to have supreme confidence when you're in a tennis match. You
Yeah,
have to think, I'm not losing this. I can't lose this. And the advantage with tennis over a lot of other sports is there's no time limit. So you're playing a baseball game with no time limit. You're down 10-0 in the ninth and final inning. You can still win, and you have to
yeah,
think you can still win. If you're playing football or basketball, which is timed,
yeah,
and you're down 4 touchdowns with 2 minutes left, you can't win.
right.
Or in basketball, you're down 40 points with 5 minutes left.
Yeah,
You can't
no
win.
chance. Yeah,
But tennis, like baseball, you're never out of it. You have to believe that. You have to believe that you're never out of it. You're going to win.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it always, I've dealt with a lot of kids looking to get into competition, or maybe they're playing some provincial level tournaments, and you know, and I was told when I was competing, just play in tournaments, play in tournaments. When I was,
Don't do that, me.
I think you might have mentioned it, but I remember the coaches, the coaches in my junior program were telling me, you know, who's playing, we used to ask the group, who's playing in a tournament this weekend? Oh, you're not playing? Okay, next weekend you're going to play in a tournament because it's all about getting the practice in when it matters,
Exactly.
right?
That's a,
You're in
that's
the
a very good
tournament, you're
point.
in a tournament setting.
That's a very good point because I remember telling myself, and of course I played at a lower level than these guys on the tour, but still a decent level. And I remember telling myself, look, you're in great shape. You were playing in those days. I was playing 3 matches a day in practice.
Oh
I'd hit
yeah,
the shot a million times. So now I'm in a tournament match. I know
right,
I can do it.
right. Is that, see, but that my point is that just because you're doing it in practice doesn't mean you can do it in a tournament.
Well,
But you're
that's
saying how you translated from practice to tournament is that you've done it a million times in practice.
my mental approach was I do this every day, many times a day. I'm going to do it now too.
Yeah,
That's it. I know it's different, but that's what you're talking about. You have to convince yourself that it's not different.
right, right.
There's
And
another thing I want to mention that Japanese women had a great volleyball team, one of the best in the world.
okay.
And their coach had a saying, um, practice is for crying, match play is for laughing. So, in other words, you put in the work, you practice really hard, and then just enjoy yourself.
Yeah. And that's a tricky quote too, because while that might work for some players don't perform well if they're laughing, if they're having too good of a
Well,
time.
it's just a manner of speech.
I know, yes,
You
yeah,
laugh,
yeah.
but what the guy is saying is relax. You've put in the practice, you've
Yeah.
worked hard, to the point of tears. Now here's your reward. You get to play a
Do you
match.
think do you think if you told that to John McEnroe before Wimbledon, he would take kindly to that? That
Well, he's a
just laugh out there, Johnny.
yeah, he's an unusual character. He had to behave like he behaved, otherwise he wasn't going to be effective.
Yeah,
Got him going because most players, if they lose it like that, they're not going to win. But
yeah,
that motivated him to be one of the best players
for
ever.
sure. No, I love quotes like that. One of my favorite quotes comes from Roger Federer. He said, "You've got to have it's fire and ice, fire in your heart, ice in your veins," and that's what
Very good.
yeah, he loved to say that. Basically keep your cool on the outside, and on the inside you have that burning desire to win. And I thought it's just it's all a balance, right?
And the other mindset is, which is really good in matches. Just, I mean, again, going back to my game, and again, it wasn't that level, but I played a decent level.
Well, you don't like to toot your own horn, but you have some accolades as a
Yeah.
player.
What I like to say to myself is, okay, I'm not hitting any balls into the net.
Yeah.
And what would happen is my balls went deep. I hit out very rarely, but not into the net. And it's good to have that. It's good to have 1 or 2 points that you're thinking about.
Right, especially if you've missed a few balls, right? Especially if you've hit a few balls into the net, you know.
I never missed those, so I wouldn't know
Oh,
about
you don't know about missing?
that.
You used to tell me, I remember going into playing, or when I was more serious about playing, you used to tell me how, you used to pride yourself on not showing emotion, like not getting too high, not getting too low. You stayed very stoic on the court. You didn't let your opponent know that, you were troubled by missing balls or whatever, making
Exactly.
mistakes, or you're
Because that
losing,
gets
you
them
don't
to
show
lose
it.
their concentration. They start to think, why isn't this guy getting mad? He's hitting all kinds of balls into the net. And they
Yeah.
start to think about him.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean
That's
you're not
kind
trying hard. It just means you're not showing it.
right.
Yeah, you've
Right.
got the, yeah, you got the, that's what it is. You got the fire.
For sure. Yeah, it's different. I remember going back to Federer, he used to say, people got on his case that, he doesn't seem to be trying very hard. And he said, how do they know I'm not trying hard? I'm trying really hard. I
The
just
mental
look
thing.
like it, just
Trying
like,
is a mental thing. You can't tell.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just because you're not smashing rackets like Roddick doesn't mean you're not trying hard,
Right, exactly.
you know.
Whatever.
Um,
Different people are motivated by different things, different
for
actions.
sure. It's so individual. Um, how I'd love to end this off is, you know, some advice for young players if they're trying to develop their game. Um, how would you advise them to develop a resilient and winning mindset?
Yeah. Well, first of all, when you practice, practice hard. You're not out there to fool around. It's better to have 1 hour of really good practice than be flippant for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So that's one, practice really hard. Two, um, know your inventory. I call it. I made that one up. I'll give credit when somebody else makes it up. But
Okay. But that's your thing.
yes,
Know
know
your
your
inventory.
inventory. Know
We'll
what you
come
can.
out with some shirts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Know what you can do.
Yeah.
Find out what you do well, and then do it.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you some stability. Okay,
Yeah.
I do this. I've got a great forehand, so I'm going to move around my backhand a little bit. That's what I'm going to think about. Never think about losing.
Yeah. Always positive.
Always positive, no matter what the score is, no matter how lousy you're playing, you can still win.
Yeah.
But you have to stay positive with that. So practice hard, stay positive.
I always, I go back to, you don't want to try to play too good. You don't want to try to play outside of yourself. You don't want to get on the court and all of a sudden you're trying just because you're not playing like Carlos Alcaraz, it means you're not playing good enough. When, if you're playing a match, you're only trying to beat the player on the opposite side of the net, right?
That's the other thing with a lot of junior players. I want to hit my forehand like Alcaraz, or I want to hit my backhand like Federer. Well, you're not Alcaraz and you're not Federer.
Yeah,
Got to get up to that place at some point, and don't be disappointed if you're not hitting it like Alcaraz or Federer.
right, right. You're just trying to get a little bit better every time you get out on the court, even at a recreational level. I mean, you hear a lot. I mean, how many times over the years at a club have you heard, I want to make my hit a forehand like Federer. I want to, I see the guys on TV. I want to hit like that from a
You
from a
know,
recreational club player.
I talk a lot about process goals. Like
Yeah,
it's fine to say, and this works in everything. It's fine to say, okay, I want to be Ontario champion, dealing with a local level. I want to be Ontario champion. Well, that's meaningless. Okay, that's your goal. Okay, how do you get to be Ontario champion? Well, first of all, you got to improve your serve. Okay, how do you improve your serve? Well, maybe my ball toss isn't high enough. Okay, so your process goal for today is get the ball up on the toss. And once you get that, then you go on to the next process goal. But it's a lengthy process to be a champion for sure.
yeah. And anyway, I think that's great for our first ever episode. We talked about a lot of different topics. I'm sure we'll get on again, and talk a little bit more in depth. Um, Guys, comment below whatever you want to see. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content. And yeah, visit ultimatetennistraining.com. Our contact information's on there if you want to reach out about anything. Um, Anything else, Dad?
I think that's it. It was great talking to you.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll talk again
Yeah,
some
we
point
will.
down the
We will
line.
for sure.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Have a good
bye,
one.
everybody.